Go ahead and call this meeting of the Pittsburgh City Commission to order. Would you join us in the invocation given this evening by Pete Bales and Mia Christie?
Thank you, and let us pray. On this third day of Christmas, we lift our hearts and minds to you, O God. We ask for your wisdom and blessing. May your light continue to be with us in this meeting and with the people of Pittsburgh. Help us to work together for the common good and bring this year to a joyful conclusion. May the new year bring us favorable weather, your protection, happiness, and prosperity. In the name of Jesus, whose birth we celebrate. Amen.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and open up the meeting for public input. If there's anybody here speak on anything, come forward, state your name.
Good evening. My name is Bill Dobrock. I am the fuel manager with Producers Co-op in Girard. I'm here this evening to inquire about the bidding process that we recently had on fuel bids for the city. The city recently awarded the bid for fuel and transport loads to Ozark Mountain Petroleum out of Mount Vernon, Missouri. And they also had the smaller fuel tanks that was awarded to us, Producers Co-op in Girard. Ozark Mountain Petroleum was 0.22 of a cent cheaper than us on their price, on their bid price, which on a load of 8,000 gallons of fuel comes to $17.60. They bought, I currently have the bid for the city right now. Right, I have here, you want to look at them, some bid sheets. They currently have, we have the bid this year, and they've bought 10 loads of fuel this year, which comes to $176 for a year difference if you figure the 0.22 of a cent. I've had the city of Pittsburgh for 30-some years. I've bid on it and got it. Of those 30 years, I've done what I thought was an excellent job for the city, or tried to. There's been several times that in the past, for example, the fire department has called me, had a major fire, needed diesel fuel because they couldn't pull the trucks off to go out and fuel them and come back. And I would, go out there and fuel the trucks, not charging anything extra or anything for it. One example is, was out of town one weekend. It was a nice weekend, it was a Saturday, and I got a phone call from the fire department. They had a major fire, which was Bite Singers. They needed diesel fuel. So I drove 2 hours back to come, and I put like 80 gallons in the fire trucks, and I've done that, never charged anything extra for it. And it's, it kind of hurts me because, 0.22 of a cent, that's not very much. Producers Co-op has over 50 employees, and I'm sure some of them spend money at Pittsburgh, go to Walmart, Dillon's, they go out to eat, and they spend money, I'm sure they spend more than $17.60 a month that you collect in sales tax, through the city. Ozark Mountain Petroleum, they're out of Mount Vernon, Missouri. They don't, chances are, nobody will ever spend any money here locally with the city. I always hear this, buy from your local businesses, support your local businesses, and I think that the city, should consider that. And I know at one time they had a policy in regards to that now, and that's why I'm here this evening to see what the bid process is, policy is on that. You know, and I know for a fact that after looking at my credit card statement last night, I spent more than $17.60 for sales tax locally, you know. So, you know, I think that I would like to see that changed.
Like to explain?
Great points. I wish I had somebody here that knew the purchasing policy. I know we give a local preference. I think that's probably what you're referring to. But I do know the language is lowest and best bid, and I think we have the right to go without the lowest bid, if that's the case. I'm going to defer to Matt on this one, because hopefully Matt knows the specifics of the bid. But I think you make a good case. It's the first time I've heard it, but I don't award the contracts.
Well, you know, for the past 30 years or whatever, it's always been together, you know, the transport loads and the small tanks. You know, the transport loads are kind of the gravy of the part of the bid. You know, the smaller tanks, you know, it's kind of a hassle, but that's the way it is, you know. And I don't mind it, you know, but, you know, I think for that amount of money that money should be spent locally and kept here with it.
And did we already award these last meeting?
Yes, I think it was last
So
meeting.
today, are you more wanting us to reconsider that, or are you wanting us to consider, because I think we bid these every year,
Yes.
and so.
I would like to reconsider for this year, for the 2017.
And that is definitely something we'll have to take under advisement with our attorney. But I think you make a great case for, you're out of shop.
Gerard.
You're out of Gerard,
Yes.
so, yeah, I don't think our local preference,
The local preference is 1 mile outside.
yeah, I think that's probably where we got hung up with this one, but I don't think it was anything. Yeah, low bid's low bid, but we'll have to look at it. I can't promise you anything tonight, and I definitely won't put the commission on the spot for coming up with a decision on doing something we did last week, but I'll take a look at it and
Okay.
holler at you tomorrow, I promise.
Okay.
And we'll figure out if something can be
That's
done,
fine.
what should be done, and we also have to respect the
You know, like I
the
said,
bid
I've
that we
taken,
awarded, but we want you in the game, and you are very local, so.
yeah. Like I said, I've done my best for the city over the years and helped them and, you know, worked with them and stuff, and I think that should be some sort of consideration, you know. Like I said, at least the money's going to stay in this area, and it's not going out of state and to where you'll never see it, so,
Thanks for bringing it to our attention.
you know.
Thank you for
But
coming.
I appreciate it if you would, and on that, your time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Tim Kunder. I'm at 313 North Broadway is my business address is. I recently applied for the open commission seat and realized that because I live an eighth of a mile outside of city limits, I did not qualify. Did a little bit of research, found out that in early 2007, that ordinance was adopted to where you had to live inside city limits. I understand the reasoning, which is that, or which I was told was that if you make decisions on the council, you're not inside city limits, that bears no weight on you personally. However, there are some business people in the community that do live outside city limits that have quite a big stake in what happens inside Pittsburgh. I realize I'm not a big fish, but I own residential property, vacant land, commercial property, as well as 2 businesses inside city limits. I'd like the board to consider that in the next election to maybe adopt or to change that ordinance to maybe allow 1 spot to be open for those who live within a specific radius outside city limits who own property inside Pittsburgh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Is there anybody else this evening? As everybody knows, we'll be voting on a new commission or here in a little bit to replace Monica as she leaves. We've all got your bios and all your information, so we know everything, but if any of you would like to say anything prior to that, now would be the time to do it. If not, we'll go ahead and close the public input and move on to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed?
I'd like to remove C and D.
Any others?
I move to approve with the exception of C and D.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve with the exception of C and D. Roll call vote.
Gray.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Ketterman.
Aye.
Munzel. Ronan.
Aye.
Item C, approval of staff recommendation to enter into a contract with design/build team of Burns and McDonald of Kansas City, Missouri, and CAS Construction LLC of Topeka, Kansas for the design and construction of renovations to the trickling filter, rotary distributor, and filter basin number 2 at the City of Pittsburgh's waste treatment plant. Matt?
Okay, so I don't have any problems with that. I was just wondering, since kind of what happens at the wastewater treatment facilities tends to seem like maybe magic to some people, that there are some people in funny hats waving wands around or something at that makes the water come out nice in the faucets. So could you maybe explain on those two items what it is that what the purpose of those things are?
So the rotary distribution arm on the trickling filter is part of the secondary wastewater treatment process. It's not even our primary process. However, it's in a large circular basin, and basically water pumps up and distributes through these arms, and they basically wet the rocks that contain bugs that help in the treatment process. In 2009, one of the arms was replaced, and now we're looking to the current one is currently rotting away. It was put in 53. It's galvanized unit, so what we're looking for is the design build contract is to replace this mechanical unit with the help of an engineer to help balance the water flow and the process of treatment. So it's really a mechanical piece of equipment that we're replacing inside of that, but there's a little bit of calculation that has to be done to make sure we get the best fit for that piece of equipment.
Say the original was put in 53, like 1953.
Yes. Yeah.
So we got our
Wow.
money's worth.
I think we did okay.
Okay.
So, and there's a difference between 2-arm units and 4-arm units and those type of things. And so that's why we asked for a design build contractor to help bring those engineering services to make sure we make the best selection on that. And so we had 3 great proposals and interviews, and Cameron and Dr. Bailey and Chris, and we all sat down and interviewed those teams, and we found that Burns and McDonald and their team up with CAS contractors best fit the intent of our RFP. So.
Well, if there are no other questions, I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Are we on, is that on both items, or is that just C?
So was D included in that, or was
That's
that
B,
just
no. D is a totally different deal.
Okay, so
Yeah.
just C.
See.
just C? Yeah.
So
Been moved and seconded to approve item C. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item D.
on item D are raw water wells that pump for the water treatment plant, not wastewater, but the actual water treatment plant, well number 10. This has been a rehab process. We have 4 raw water wells. This is the last of those wells that we have to rehab the actual pump itself about every 10 years per well. But in that process, the column pipe that goes down around 350 feet, we've been replacing those with stainless steel pipe because they've been galvanized. When we pull them out of the ground, the characteristics of the water have decayed those units. So majority of that price is actually included in stainless steel column pipe to be replaced. And so what we're asking is for the low bid. They'll pull the pump, examine it, figure out any additional parts in the pump that need to be replaced, but then they actually have the material price of replacing the stainless steel column pipe.
Matt, can you take it one step further, and to Jeremy's question, maybe talk about, just very quickly, the water comes up through the column pipe, what happens to it before it hits the faucet? I know, and not in detail, but there's about 3
I
big
spent
steps.
an entire day learning about this
We hit
process.
it,
So
basically we hit it with some stuff, but go.
Yeah,
just very
so
quick.
after it comes out of the raw water well, it goes through the aeration process to remove some of the hydrogen sulfide. We hit it with chlorine, then we hit it with lime softening chemicals to soften the process, filter it back out, and it goes to your tap. Is the quick and dirty of that.
That was good.
that was good. Yay, science.
So,
No other questions, I'd move to approve.
Second.
Been moved and seconded approval of item D. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Gentlemen.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay, consider the following. Appointment of City Commission member, Commissioner Monica Mernan has resigned her position of the City Commissioner effective December 31st, 2016. Appoint a new commissioner to fill the vacant position with a term beginning on January 10th, 2017 and to expire January of 2018. Okay, before we go to that, I'd just like to say we had a total of 8 or 7 that had applied for this. Of course, Tim Cunninger came up and he was excluded because he lives outside the city limits. We had 2 others that submitted their application late. It would be in my opinion that we don't consider those 2, but I'll leave it open to any commissioners have any other further comment on that.
I would second that.
But then that'll leave us with a decision for 4, so.
John, at this time, while the statute is clear that I am able to vote on this issue due to my resignation being in a future date, to avoid any possible concerns, I will abstain from the remainder of this conversation.
Everybody mark your ballots then.
Yeah, we have ballots. Any other conversations?
I didn't hand out any ballots, Tammy. Did you hand them out?
It's kind of, you want me to go ahead?
Please.
We have a tie here between Shane Bicknell received 2 votes and Patrick O'Brien received 2 votes. So how would you like to proceed? You want to revote the whole, all the candidates, or just try to revote those 2? It's kind of at your
I
discretion.
think we'll revote those 2, I think, would be my suggestion. Any other opinion?
Want to try it again?
Sure.
Just vote for Shane or Patrick, please.
Those out of the way. Get sued.
Second deadlock on those, that second round of voting.
I'd like to ask advice of counsel here. Is it appropriate for, in this situation, for the 5 of us to discuss if it's appropriate for me to vote or not? I believe it is, but I'm willing to have that conversation.
I believe that you are entitled to vote on this by statute, and so if you choose to do so, you certainly may.
Well, it does appear that I've been elected to do something already, and I still have the position, so I'd like to hear what the other commissioners have to say.
I personally, if I was in Monica's position, I would not vote. And so I feel like I have to at least say that.
But what would be your concern, Michael?
My concern would be, I don't think it's appropriate for a person who is vacating a seat to choose their replacement. I don't think that's currently how
But I'm one
it
of 5,
right?
It's
Okay,
the
well,
commission.
I'm trying to explain my position. I don't think that's what happens at other levels of government, including if you were to resign from your seat that you're taking now. To me, I don't want to make this about Monica or John or Chuck or Jeremy. I'm saying if I was doing this tonight,
see.
if I was resigning, I would abstain from voting for my position, because that's just a personal thing that I would choose, that would not be my I don't think that would be appropriate. But what I am saying is I'm not going to prevent the process from moving forward. If you feel strongly that you are entitled to vote Monica and you want to vote, I'm not going to try to do anything to stop that. Does that make, I can't see you. So
I know, it's really
it's
odd, isn't
frustrating.
it?
So
We should-
I wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a personal thing.
Yeah.
If I was in your shoes, I would not
I'm
do
not
it.
sure how else
But-
to move forward there.
But I'm not going to say, clearly Henry believes that legally there's no issue. I have to defer to him on that, so I'm not concerned about that. And you have to decide what you want to do personally. And so I'm not going to try to stop this process based on that. I just had to feel like I had to say that, because if I was in your shoes, that's the decision I would make.
I see.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks for sharing
I'd
that.
like to echo the comments Michael made. If I was leaving, I would abstain from the vote.
Well, Michael, let me ask you this then. I mean, since there's clearly a deadlock, do you have, I guess Chuck as well, do you have suggestions about how to move forward then?
Well, I've already said that mine is more of just a statement of my personal feelings and objection. But I've already stated that I'm not going to prevent the process from moving forward. If Monica feels, Henry's already advised us legally on what he believes is the case legally. And if Monica wants to vote, I'm not going to prevent that from happening. And that's what I'm trying to say, is this is just more of a personal feeling and objection that I would have, even if I was in her shoes. But I feel like if Henry's advising us that she has the legal right to do that in the position that we're in, then if she wants to do that, then that's a decision that she'll have to make. So I'm not here to prevent the process from moving forward if she feels like she wants to vote and Henry's okay with that legally. So that's my answer to your question, Jeremy.
I think I would say that would be my opinion also. If it was me, I would abstain from voting. I would have a clarification though, but since she's already abstained from voting in this right off
Vote's
the
already been
bat,
taken, right?
how can she come back in and vote now, since she said she wanted to abstain from it?
I guess withdraw her abstention.
What's another solution?
Well,
We keep
there's no
voting.
good solutions here. I think some communities in the past have flipped a coin. I think, Darren and I talked about this a little bit.
We don't have that written down anywhere.
No, we have no.
So for
formal-
clarification, I abstained from the vote was taken. I abstained from the conversation. And would a second vote need to be taken? Does that make a difference legally? So if we have to re-vote, right?
Well, I mean, that is one option, yes, that certainly is. Or if you decide to go with some other method of moving forward, such as a coin flip or something of that nature, you can certainly.
I think her question is, she can remove her abstention
Oh, well, yes.
at any
Keep
point
the
in time.
process moving.
I think that's what she's trying to get clarification on.
I
Is
didn't
the fact
understand
the vote's already taken place, she could, if she wanted to, she could remove that.
Yes, well, yeah, on this next vote, yes.
Yes.
That answer it, John?
Yeah, I just was curious.
Yeah.
Once you abstain from something, I just don't know, I just didn't understand how you can come back in on it once you've already abstained.
Well, the
Does the action
abstention
happen?
was her
Well,
choice.
but you abstained from the conversation also, so.
Well, I think it would be different too if we had selected someone and she's like, oh, I don't like how this turned out, now I want to change and vote. Like, nothing has happened as a result of the action, so it seems like
Well,
her being able to would make sense at this point.
in my opinion, I agree with Michael. If my position was to be one that's up tonight, I would abstain from the vote. Having said that I would abstain, I would also abstain from getting back in. See what I'm saying? I don't think you flip back and forth.
Well, here's what I think. This is not an ideal situation. Abstentions are specific to an action. We've had the action. Correct?
Yeah.
I was elected to help be one of 5, always one of 5. This is an action. When I resigned the 31st, so I'm still technically in office today. And while it's not an ideal situation, I have every legal right to vote, and it seems to me that to keep the process moving, I need to do that.
And just for clarification on the timeline, Henry, before you go further, just so people that are listening, Monica's still a city commissioner until the 31st.
That's correct.
Because that's when she's announced her resignation will be effective. So the vacancy will not exist until after her resignation becomes effective. And the new person that's sworn in, their new term will not become effective until the vacancy is created.
They won't
Really
actually
won't
take
come
their
effective
oath
till
until January
January
10th.
Right. So there's a 10-day gap there. So there's no issues of there's no issues of having 6 commissioners through this action with the timing, with the way it's laid out.
Yeah, with the way that it's set forth
Right.
in your agenda, there's no, yeah.
So just to make sure people were listening or thinking through that, there's no issues of Monica, if she votes, there's no issues of her choosing someone that would fill her seat now, even though she has not vacated it, because of her announcement that the 31st is the effective date of resignation, and this person can't take this empty seat until they're sworn in at the first meeting in January. So there would be a 10-day gap there. Monica, if that's what you feel like you want to do, I think we need to move forward with the vote, with the 5
I
votes.
think it's fair to the folks who've been gracious enough to volunteer to put their name in, and for the city staff to keep moving forward. So for clarification, I will be voting.
Patrick O'Brien, 3 votes. Shane Bicknell, 2 votes. Thanks to everybody that put their name in.
Appreciate it. Thank
One
you
thing I
for
wanna point out.
volunteering.
Usually we elect new commissioners in April. Next year, that has been moved to November. So this term will serve from January 10th until basically the end of next year in December. It's not a 4-month term, it is a 12-month term. And that is the only year that we'll have to make that change, and then I think everything should be back on the new schedule. So, anything else you want to say?
Just need to make a motion to appoint and second and vote.
I'll move to approve Patrick as the new appointed city commissioner.
I'll second that.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Request to rezone. Consider request to rezone 2313 South Rouse from IP1 Planned Light Industrial to CP2 Planned General Commercial to allow for a financial institution to be constructed on the property, which was presented by Brent Benson on behalf of Arvis Bank at the Planning Commission December 19th, 2016. Cameron.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. This property is the lot immediately south of Fire Station 3 on South Rouse. It initially was zoned as part of the industrial park, and so that's why it had the IP1 zoning. Moving to the CP2, you've got Walmart just across the street. You have other businesses immediately to the south that are also CP2. And so we brought this to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and it got to unanimous approval to be rezoned.
I move to approve, there's no questions.
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Cameron?
Good job, Cameron.
Any non-agenda reports or requests this evening?
I think we're good.
I have one quick thing, John. I just wanted to tell everybody sincerely, thank you. As I go off the commission after the completion of our meeting this evening, it's been 4 years that I've learned so many new things and met so many nice people. Serving as mayor was just such an honor, and serving on the city commission, it just again, an honor. And as I move forward and head up north, please know that I still have the best interest of our citizens here in Pittsburgh and a little bit further, bigger ring around Pittsburgh at heart. And also the keeping in mind the significance of what municipalities do in our state, and that they are the heart and soul of our state, and that municipalities like ours are only as strong as the people who work in them and the infrastructure they have. And we have seen such growth in our community, and I just really want to thank the city staff. Very rarely in your career do you get to work with a group of people that are just consistently good. And from everybody from the library to the guys out at the wastewater treatment system to Jamie and his staff, and crunching all of those numbers all the time, accuracy is just phenomenal. And the dedication and the professionalism is great. So thank you all sincerely for making our job easy. Jeremy has mentioned several times about how you can make really good decisions when you have good information brought to you, and you can trust and believe in the people who bring it. So thank you, Darren, and please share that with all of your staff members. And thanks to the people of Pittsburgh who think it's a good idea for me to head north. So thanks again to everybody.
And I'd just like to thank Monica for her 4 years of service to the city. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. You'll be missed, and I wish you the best of luck and Godspeed on your way
Thank
to
you.
Topeka.
Thank you very much.
Any other non-agenda reports or requests?
On behalf of the staff, I know they'd give me the look if I didn't say something after all that you just said about them. So,
It's okay, you don't have to. We're good. You had cake.
it means a lot.
Everybody had cake. We're good.
And we know it's a volunteer position, but I do think I'm looking forward to you being in Topeka. And we've kind of had a rough ride up there for a while, and hopefully you can be part of making some better decisions on behalf of the cities, so we don't have as many tough decisions here that we make on an every 2-week basis. So good luck, and thanks for the kind words.
Thanks.
Executive session. An executive session is necessary for discussion regarding personnel matters of non-elected personnel. Motion to recess into executive session for approximately 60 minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Be recessed for about an hour.